We've done hatchbacks, we've done JDM cars, we've done American cars, we've done them all. But today, we are going to be giving you one tuner car for every single price range that up to $25,000. The way this video works is first I go over a car for $25K that fits the criteria. Today is obviously tuners, so I'll give you a tuner car for $25K, then one for 20, then one for 15, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and even $1,000. Yes, a tuner car for less than $1,000. It's going to be a hoopty. Don't expect to be driving a nice little show car for less than 1K. But either way, let's go right into the video with the first tuner car that you could buy for less than $25,000. For less than $25,000, big green boys, you got my favorite car of all time, the Mazda RX-D FD 3S. Now here's the thing, finding an FD RX-7 for under 25K is hard. Finding an FD RX-7 in general for sale is pretty hard, but it can be done, and when it is done, you got yourself Mark Rodin's favorite car in the world, and that's saying something. It probably is the best car in the world. It comes with a 1.3 liter twin turbocharger, two-rotor rotary engine, making 255 horsepower, and it's rear-wheel drive. Obviously, these can be built for just about anything you want. They really excel in track performance, to be honest. People sleep on RX-7s and their handling capabilities, but you also can obviously turn that little rotary into a motor and have it be a nice little drag car, or you could even drift it. A lot of people say that it's kind of hard to drift FD RX-7s, and I would hate to see an FD RX-7 get destroyed, so I don't recommend drifting it, but you could if you wanted to. For less than $20,000, let's go to the land of Mitsubishi, that is, with the Lancer Evolution 8. Now you can find a 7, probably a 6, maybe even a 5 for less than 20K as well, but I like the 8 the best, so we're going to go over the 8th generation of these. Once again, another JDM car with just an absolutely incredible motor that still to this day is not being beat that often. It comes with a 2-liter turbocharged inline-4, making 291 horsepower, and it is all-wheel drive. These cars are also very good for you rally boys. It kind of feels weird turning an Evo into a rally car nowadays because they're so popular and they're so like wanted and rare. But that's what they were built for. They were meant to go off-road. So if you want to turn your little Evo into a rally car, go for it, buddy. But you could also do everything else, obviously. It comes with a 4G, so these things are absolute monsters at the drag strip. Not driftable, since they're all-wheel drive. Well, actually, you could swap it. If you swap an Evo to rear-wheel drive and you drift it, you are going to get some hate on the internet for it. So just warning you. For less than $15,000, we're going to go finally to the land of Germany. I know. I bet you guys were expecting this whole list to be Japanese vehicles. No, there's tuner cars from Germany. There's even some tuner cars from America, sir. Okay? But for less than 15K, I think the BMW 335i E92 is an amazing option. It comes with a 3-liter twin turbocharged inline-6, making 300 horsepower out of the gate, and that motor is called the N54. Now, in terms of reliability, the motor's definitely questionable, has some issues. However, for building straight power ski, this thing is a rocket ship. It's the freaking German 2JZ. On top of that, if you wanted to, you could probably even find an F30 335i for less than $15,000, which is the next generation, which is a little bit more new and has fancier tech and all that stuff. So you could do that too. But BMWs in general with the N54, oh my god, they're just so good, man. They're just so good. For less than $10,000, let's get into the cheaper boys now. For less than 10K, I think the Subaru WRX Stinkeye is a pretty gosh darn good option. Almost any WRX is a very good option for the tuner boys. They have a very fun motor to build, and it's very different from the rest of the cars on this list too, since it's a flat motor, and so that's interesting. It comes with a 2.5 liter turbocharged flat 4, obviously, since I just said that, making 305 horsepower, and it is all-wheel drive. Pretty decent horsepower out of the gate. This is just like the Evo before, a rally car with a pretty good motor in it, but this one, it will feel a little bit less painful turning it into a rally car because there's more of them out there. Also, the Stinkeye generation of the WRX, this is like the hatchback generation, and then the one that's always forgotten about, are literally just so underrated, dude. They cost, like, honestly, nowadays, Blob Eyes and Hawk Eyes are coming up to around the $10,000 mark, so you could just spend, like, a couple extra $1,000 and get a much newer model with just so much better stuff on it. Coming in for less than $9,000, we're going to go ahead and talk about my second favorite car brand of all time, Nissan, with the Nissan 240SX S13. That's how old I am. I hit puberty fast. Don't question it. Obviously, these cars are used all the time for tuner boys everywhere, and they are still just an absolutely incredible option. They come with a 2.4 liter inline 4, making 144 horsepower, whole lot of fours, and it's rear wheel drive. The motor is called a KA24DE, but here's the thing: the motor is actually not as good as you would think for tuning. It can handle a decent amount of horsepower. The thing is, though, these cars don't need a lot. They only need a small amount, and they're very friendly for swaps. So if you ever want to swap the motor into an S13, the engine bay loves that. They eat it right up. So it is a tuner car, and I do think it's a great option for a tuner car. However, it's a little bit of a different one from the rest of these cars, because the rest of these, they come with the motor that makes it a tuner car, whereas the S13, the motor isn't the real tuner aspect of it, if that makes any sense. I keep saying motor. Everybody makes fun of me whenever I say motor, because they're like, oh, it's not a motor, it's an engine. My dad's always called them motors. I call them motors. It's a weird thing I do. I'm sorry. For less than $8,000, we're going to hit you with a little bit of a curveball, something that you probably were not going to be expecting at all, with the Hyundai Genesis Coupe. That's right. That's right. These cars are actually pretty fun little tuner cars. Now, here's the thing. They're not going to be as good as some of the other cars on this list. I want to make that very, very clear. It just doesn't have enough aftermarket support for it right now. They're not as popular as something like a Civic or a WRX or EVO, but they are honestly they have a surprising amount of mods available for them. They come with a 2-liter turbocharged inline 4, making 290 horsepower, and it is rear-wheel drive. They also come with a 3.8-liter V6, but you're gonna want to get the 2-liter turbo if you're looking into the whole tuning thing. Those motors just like to handle power better, and they're more enjoyable to modify from what I've heard, so definitely look into those. And like I said, these are not like great tuner cars. Like, I'm not going to sit here and tell you that these things are going to reach 700 horsepower on stock motor. It's not going to happen, but they can be very fun, and you're most likely not going to get any car for under 8K that can reach 800 horsepower on the stock block anyway. For less than $7,000, I immediately almost have to take back my last statement I made about how. For less than 6K, we're going to stay in the same family, actually, and as a matter of fact, we're staying in the same motor with the, oh, I said it again, with the Acura RSX Type S. That's right. This car also came with a K-Series, friend, but these ones are around the same price as an 8th Gen SI right now, and a little bit older, so it's kind of up to you. Depends on what you like. I personally like the RSX better, but that's up to you. Comes with the same motor, 2-liter inline 4, makes a little bit less horsepower at 197, and it is front-wheel drive. It only makes 4 less horsepower, so it's really not that big a deal, and the only reason why it does is just because, like I said, it's just a couple years earlier, so obviously the Civic SI probably changed a couple things around, but there's the same motor, alright? Same motor. Handles same amount of horsepower. And the RSX is more, I would say, sporty. I mean, the SI is obviously a sports model, but the RSX Type S is also a sports model, and the RSX itself is already built to be a sports car. And then when they add the sportier model, it's just even more sporty. You know what I mean? Like, come on, man. I personally just like the RSX better. Up to you, though. Pretty much the same thing as the Civic Si. Coming in for less than $5,000. Now we're getting into the cars that are going to be a little beat up when you do buy them. For less than 5K, I think that the BMW 328i E36 is an amazing option. I talk about this car a lot, and I'm going to continue to talk about it a lot because it's a great option for less than 5K. Until it goes above 5K, which it will soon, but until it does that, I love this. I'm going to talk about it. Comes with a 2.8-liter inline 6, making 190 horsepower, and it is rear-wheel drive. That's right, buddy. We're finally back into the rear-wheel drive, boys. You're going to be sliding all over Hell's Creation. I love this freaking thing. The E36 is just like the S13, probably even better, honestly, than the S13 in terms of like what people use it for. They buy them cheap, modify them like crazy, and just have an absolute blast ripping them on their streets, doing, you know, street drifting and stuff like that, drifting in real life, racing them around a course. I would highly recommend looking into an E36 if you're one of the guys that are into the more tuner world, because they're just incredible options. For less than $4,000, however, we're staying in Germany. That's right, buddy. We're going to go with Volkswagen. Some people, these are so slept on in the tuner world. People do not talk about Volkswagens enough, dude. They have these, they are like the Hondas of Germany. They can be wild. It's the Volkswagen GTI Mark IV. I don't know if I already said that or not, but it comes with a 1.8-liter turbocharged inline 4, making 170 horsepower, and it is front-wheel drive. The 1.8T never lose, baby. That's literally a quote, because the car never loses in races. That's baller. You drive up to a dude at a stoplight, he's gonna be like, oh, look, it's a little Volkswagen. Oh no, it's a 1.8T. Better not race it. Obviously, they are not like incredibly fast, but the whole reason why they're so popular is because they're so cheap, very reliable, and incredibly easy to make decent power on in a car that's relatively lightweight. It's also very easy to like gut the interior on these cars and make them lighter, since they are a hatchback and you don't need all that space. You could turn it into a 2-seater or just a 1-seater, even if you really want to cut weight. And it really is like 300 horsepower in a Mark IV GTI goes a long way. Speaking of incredibly lightweight cars that just love to rip up, for less than $3,000, I believe that the Acura Integra is an amazing deal. I bought one for exactly $3,000. Can you believe that, guys? And it has 140,000 miles on it. It comes with a B series, which makes me booty bay happy, you know what I'm saying? And it's an incredible car. It comes with a 1.8 liter inline 4, making 140 horsepower, and it is front wheel drive. Sadly, yes, it's very slow out of the gate. I'm not gonna sit here and lie, I was definitely a little bit disappointed at this top speed when I first got the car. However, if you ever wanted to, these motors are incredibly easy to make a lot of power out of. It's a Honda, comes with a B series. I would say that the K series is better than the B series, but some people would disagree with that. But either way, that's how good the motor is. It argues with the K series from time to time. And unlike a lot of the cars for less than 5K on this list, this one you can actually find in pretty decent condition. My car, it does have 140,000 miles, so it's in the higher range of miles for sure, but everything else is completely fine. It's really clean, it gives me no issues. I love the car. For less than $2,000 though, to finish off this list, we're going to be staying in Japan. We like Japan. Japan has a lot of tuner cars. For less than 2K, I think the Mitsubishi Eclipse 2nd generation is a pretty good option. Sadly, you cannot find the GSX for less than 2K. You can't even find the GSX for less than like 9K right now. It's stupidly expensive. But it comes with a 2-liter inline 4, making 140 horsepower, and it's front wheel drive. Same horsepower as the Integra, weighs a little bit more than the Integra, motor's a little bit worse than the Integra, but the car's a little bit cheaper than the Integra. It balances itself out. The Eclipse 2G with the GSX model, I'm sure you guys heard about it before. That came with an 4G63, which is the same motor that was in the EVOs. Sadly, those stinky men at Mitsubishi decided not to do that with the base models. So, and you're only going to be able to find a base model for less than 2K. So the engine really isn't that fantastic, but it's a tuner car for less than 2K. It's going to be really hard to find a better option. For less than $1,000, I want to say right now, I don't recommend buying any car for less than 1K. I really think that if you are really on a strict budget like that, just save for just a little bit longer. But for less than 1K, the Honda Accord 5th generation can be found. You can buy one for less than 1K. And it has a pretty decent motor in it. It comes with a 2.2 liter inline 4, making 130 horsepower, and it is front wheel drive. Now, sadly, the Accords never got really any of the great motors. They never got B series or K series, so you're kind of stuck with the quote-unquote worse motors of Honda when you buy the Accords. But it's a Honda nonetheless, and no matter what, Hondas are going to be able to make decent power. It doesn't matter what motor it is. There are just some ones that are better, like, you know, the B series and the K series. But either way, it still is going to make you a decent amount of power, and it's still incredibly lightweight. And it's a sleeper too, because it's an Accord. Nobody's going to expect an Accord to be like wicked fast like a Civic. Civics are kind of like, nowadays, people kind of expect the Civic, like, uh-oh, watch out for that. If you see a Honda and it has those little, and you're behind it and it has those little, like, I think they're control arms. I don't know what they are though, but you can see them underneath the car and they're like metal pieces. You know that thing's wicked fast. I love that about Hondas. But yeah, the Honda Accord, underrated car for sure. I would recommend, if you do want one of these, wait until you have around 2K and then buy one that's around that price instead of one for under 1K, because you're just going to be in a world of nightmares. But but ladies and gentlemen, like, that's the end of today's video and stuff. Like, you know, if there's any ladies out there, you know, like, hit my line, I'll help you out with your cars and stuff. I'm just playing, guys. I don't do that. My name's Mark. I don't do that kind of stuff. Thank you guys so much for watching, though. I appreciate it. If you enjoyed, please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel for more. Also, let me know what other ones you'd like to see me give you one car for every price range under. I'm thinking about doing it with car brands. So like I'll do one Honda for every price range out there. But let me know if you guys want to see that. I want to do it, but let me know if you guys want to see it. But anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate it. Das vidanya, and have a nice night.